Hello, everyone. Matt over at SFREP. Glad you could join us. Maybe I can fix this video real quick. Sorry about that. There we go. A little blown out there. I'm Matt over at SFREP. Glad you could join us for this webinar on Apex Portal, which is our new mobile app, new mobile sketching that we're really excited about. And in just a minute, I'm going to bring on Brian Marino, who is going to demonstrate it for you because he is the expert on it. Helped develop it and works over at Apex. We do want you to know that it is included in the Appraise It Platinum plan. And if you want to add it a la carte to your account, you most certainly can do so. You just have to call our sales office. And that number is, do I have it on here? I don't have the sales number on here, but you can always just contact this telephone number because it's the exact same thing, 800-644-4051. That will take you to our sales office and they can add it onto your account. And if you do add it to your account after this webinar or in the next couple of days, you will get a copy of the desktop version of Apex 7 included at no additional charge. So it's a huge deal and a huge value. And we really hope that you will take advantage of it. And to show you how cool this program is, which, by the way, one of the things I love about this program, runs on any platform, literally any platform. It runs on Android phones, Android tablets. It runs on the iPhone, the iPad. It runs on desktops, Chromebooks, anything with a browser can run Apex Portal. And it's a really cool field sketching software that you can actually use on your desktop as well. So we're going to bring in Brian. Brian, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Matt.
And you're over in San Antonio, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to be in your fair city next Thursday. So looking forward to
Awesome.
seeing you over at AXE, the AXE show, the
Definitely.
appraiser show. Thank you so much for taking time out of your Wednesday to show us Apex Portal.
Glad to be here and glad y'all had us.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and turn it over to you and show us what you got.
All right, will do. And you should be able to see my screen here. So I'm going to start off this presentation on an iPad Pro. So I have the Apex Portal installed. You can see the icon there on the home screen. So I'm going to go ahead and tap on it and launch the application, and it's going to log me in. So I'm already logged in with my email and password. As Matt mentioned, when you do sign up, we're going to provide you with an email and a password that you'll sign into your Apex Portal to do what I'm doing here. And then once I finish creating my sketch on my iPad, I'm going to hop over to the desktop and I'll just quickly show you how to import what we create on the iPad into the Appraise It Pro through Apex 7. So I'll go through that whole process here. So let's say we got a job, we need to go out in the field and get a sketch of a property. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open my iPad. It's going to take me to my sketch library, which basically has a list of any sketch I've created in here in the past. But in this case, I need to create a new sketch. So I'm going to tap on the new record button at the top right, and I'm going to enter the address for the property that I want to sketch. And it'll kind of autofill it at the bottom. So if you see it in the lookup page, you can just tap it and it'll autofill the city, state, and zip for you. If you want to type in the file number, you can. I think my file number is something like 25 or 240032. So you can kind of, or 031. So you can kind of type in your file number as you go. It's not required, but if you want to use that to kind of track things, you can do that as well. So now that I tap OK, you'll notice that it created a record on the right side that says no preview, so I see nothing. I can see the address that I entered. I can see any subject info, so the file number was the only thing I filled out, so that's showing down there as well. So now that we have this record created, we're going to go ahead and go in and start creating the sketch for it. So I'm going to tap the red button at the bottom right that says Open in AVX, and that's going to launch our web-based sketching application. So this version of Apex running on your iPad, it's very familiar to you if you've ever used Apex 6 or 7. The way you draw, the way you define areas are going to be very similar to what you're used to doing. So I'm going to tap on the draw button on the left side, and you'll notice I get a crosshair in the middle of the screen, and I'll also get a touchpad on the right. So that's what I'm going to use to draw with, the numbers and direction arrows on the right. So I'm just going to use my finger and kind of drag it over to the top left and tap on the screen, and you'll notice that it turned green and red, so it kind of looks like a bullseye. That lets me know that the cursor is down, so if I drag my finger, it's going to draw a line. I can tap delete above the 7 to delete it. If the cursor is gray, like it is here, I can move it without drawing a line. So that's the difference between a gray cursor or a green and red. Green and red, your pen is down, it's going to draw a line. If it's gray, you can move it without drawing a line. In this case, I want to draw a line, so I'm in the correct position I need to be. My pen is down, I'm ready to go. So I'm going to start tapping in distances and directions using the touchpad on the right side of the app. So I'm going to tap 20, and we can see 20 show up in the touchpad at the top there. And then I'm going to tap the right arrow. So you'll notice it drew a 20-foot line going to the right. If I'm happy with that number, I can go ahead and tap enter and place it. If you happen to be measuring more than one wall, like let's say you have, or one line, I should say. So maybe you have like a 20-foot measurement, then you got a 3-foot, then you got another 8-foot measurement. You don't have to do that math in your head. You can do 20 feet, then I can do 5 and tap right, and then I can tap 8 and tap right. And it's going to add those numbers up for me so that I'm not doing the math. So if you run into a situation like that, just keep drawing in the same direction for every measurement, and it'll just add everything up. Now, in this case, I actually wanted this wall to be 20 feet. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tap 20 on my touchpad and tap enter. And you'll notice it shortened the line to 20 feet. If your line is not placed yet and you type in a number and press enter without giving it a direction, it'll actually change that line to the number you type in. So that's just a quick tip on editing or changing a line on the fly if you haven't placed it yet. Now I want to place this line on my page, so I'm going to tap enter. And you'll notice that the line now turns black. The dimension label is above it. So I've placed that line in my sketch page and I'm ready to move on. So let's say the next wall goes 10 down. I'll tap 10 down, enter, then maybe 4 left. We'll come 7 down. We'll go 10 right. So basically distance, direction, enter is going to draw your walls. If we go 35 down here, I'm actually going to draw off screen, but you'll notice that it follows me. So I don't have to necessarily recenter if I don't want to. I can continue drawing with not everything in view if that's easier for me. Now, if I prefer to see everything, on the left side of the program, at the bottom left, there's a blue square with a dot in the center, and then it looks like a green X. That green X is actually center and fit. So if I tap on that button, it'll actually bring everything I drew into view so that I can see what I have drawn and see it all. So that's just a quick way to bring everything into view. If you draw off the screen, you continue on, but then you want to bring everything back into view. That's how you can do it quickly. Now, let's say I realize, you know what, I actually made a mistake. That 4-foot wall going down between the two 10-foot walls or the 3-foot wall should have been 4 feet. So I need to go back and fix that. So the way I can do that, again, above the 7 key on the pad on the right, if I tap that delete button, each time I tap delete, it'll delete one line. So I'm going to delete all the way back, delete the 3-foot wall. I'm going to change it to 4 and press enter because that's what it should have been. Then I'm going to use the insert button to the right of delete. And every time I hit insert, it's going to insert one wall back that I drew. So that's a quick way if you realize you made a mistake to delete back, fix it, reinsert everything, and you don't even have to remember what the distances were you deleted. It's just going to put them back for you. So I'm going to do it one more time. I'm going to change it back to 3. So I'm just going to tap delete all the way back to the 4. I'll change it back to 3, hit enter, and then I'll tap insert to put everything back. And now I'm back to where I left off. So that's a quick way to do that. Now let's say, you know what, I want to zoom in on where I'm at. I can switch modes at any time. I'm going to tap on edit on the left. I'm just going to, with my finger, drag up and then pinch and zoom and then tap back on draw and then tap enter. And now I'm back at the end of that wall, but I just zoomed in on where I was. So again, if you're in the field and you come across something you want to get more detailed on, you can always zoom in on it and then go back into draw. So in this instance, let's say we came across a bay window, and this bay window has a rise and a run of 2 and 2. So it goes 2 down and 2 left. So the way we'll draw that is I'll tap 2 and I'll tap the down arrow on the touchpad, but without hitting enter, now I'm going to tap 2 left. So we can see on screen an angle. It's showing me 2 and 2 for the rise and run. I can see a 45 in red there, so it's letting me know it's a 45-degree angle. So from here, I'll go ahead and tap enter and place it. And then we'll go 6 feet left for the middle wall. And then for the opposite side of the bay window, I could go 2 up and then 2 left, or to the right of the 3 button, there's a B button. If I tap B for bay window, it'll actually mirror the first angle I drew. And then that way I can just one tap of a button get the other side versus having to do 2 up, 2 left, or whatever it is. So I'm going to go 15 up from here. And now I want to bring everything into view. So I'm going to tap this green X, center and fit. My whole sketch is now in view. All right, so we drew a smaller angle using rise and run. Now let's say we need to draw like a larger wing-like angle. And if we have something like a miter gauge where in the field we can actually measure what the angle is, we have a way to draw that as well. And we call that turn. So the way you would use turn is you would enter the distance of the wall. So in this case, it's 20 feet. Let's say we measured the walls 20 feet long. So I'll tap 20 for the distance. Now for the direction, I need to tell it, does it go left or right, the angle? In this case, the angle's going to the left. If you think of you're driving straight up on the screen, are you going to turn left or right? We're going to go left in this case. So I'm going to tap L for left, which is right to the right of the 9 button. And then next we need to enter what the degree is. So the degree, let's say we measured it's 53 degrees. I'm going to go ahead and type in 53. And so we can see in the touchpad 20L53, which means 20 feet to the left at 53 degrees. So when I tap enter, it's going to draw that for me. So I can see there on screen 53 degrees. It's 127 on the other side. So it's giving me both sides of the angle. Once I'm happy with that, I can go ahead and tap enter, and now that line is placed on the sketch page. A lot of times when you come off at an angle like this, a lot of the walls coming off of this one will be 90 until maybe it squares back up with the house somewhere else. So let's say we have a 15-foot wall going to the right, which would be kind of up in this case, and it's 90 degrees. So I'm going to do 15 for the distance. I'm going to tap R for right. If I don't put a degree, it's going to just default it to 90. So I don't need to type in 90. I'm just going to tap enter. And now I have a 15-foot wall going to the right. It's coming perfectly 90 off of that angle. I'll go ahead and tap enter to place it. And now I'm ready to move on. So I have 2 more lines I need to draw. I need to square this up and close it. Those blue lines you're seeing there are actually going to help me do that. The 16.6, that's how far it is from where my green cursor is to where that red bullseye is. The 14-foot, that's how far if I went straight up, it would be to a line. And then the 8.9 is how far to the right I am. This would probably be where you figured you made a mistake on that 3-foot wall. Maybe it should have been 15 feet down, not 14. Well, I'm a foot off. That 4 foot, if I change that 3 to 4, it would put me at 15 there. So this is probably where you'd figure out the mistake, but either way, you can still fix it the same way I showed. Now in this case, I want to draw that 8.9 and square it to the right. So I can just tap the 8.9 number and it'll draw it. So I just tapped it with my finger. It drew the line. I want to close this now. So I could tap on the red bullseye. That would close it. Or I can tap the A button right under enter and that'll auto close it as well. So whichever method you prefer, whether it be tapping the bullseye on the screen or tapping the A button in the touchpad, both of them do the same thing. Okay, so we've drawn the footprint of our first floor. This is also going to be part of the second floor, but I'll show you that in a minute. So now let's go and add a patio. So I'm going to just using my finger, I'm going to drag over and you'll notice it kind of snaps to the corner when I get close. This is the corner I want to start on. And another tip I always give users, when I'm drawing anything, typically I always measure or start on a corner. So let's say I don't have an area that starts on this corner, but maybe it starts 3 feet down the wall. Then I'm going to start on this corner, and when my cursor's gray, I'm going to go 3 feet down, and then I'm going to start drawing from here. So the way I like to sketch is I usually measure from a corner to something, and that's usually how I draw as well, because it makes it a lot easier to snap here and move a certain distance down a wall in Apex. Now in this case, we're going to draw a patio. So I tapped enter, my cursor's green, I have a little crosshair. So we're going to go 6 feet to the right here and tap enter. And let's say this patio has a curved corner. So we measured the chord and the rise and run of the chord is 10 feet down and then 10 feet right. So very similar to the way we drew the bay window, we set our chord. We went 10 down and then 10 right, but we have not pressed enter yet. So the next thing we need to do is curve the wall. So if you look at the top, there's a curve left and a curve right button. In this case, we want the curve right. So I'm going to tap curve right and that arc will curve to a 90-degree curve. We can see the arc height is 2.9. The chord is 14.1. The arc length is 15.7. So it's showing you all those numbers there on screen. You can also get a little bit of other data if you look at the very top: arc length, rise run, primary angle, interior, arc height, chord length, and arc angle. All those numbers are shown up there. And technically I can tap on any of those numbers and change them if I want to. I'm going to leave it where it is and just tap enter. And now I'm ready to move on. So I'm going to draw down to the red dot. I'm just going to tap on the red dot and it'll draw a line down to that corner. just like in Apex 6 and 7, I don't need to retrace all of the walls back to where I started. So I'm just going to tap enter a second time. My cursor will turn gray, and now I'm ready to move on and add another area. So I'll drag my cursor down to the bottom right corner, snap to it, tap enter, and we'll go 20 right, 24 up, and then I'll snap back over to this corner, tap enter. I don't need to retrace that 24 down, so I'll just tap enter a second time, and I'm done with a garage. I'm going to add a second floor as well. So let's say the second floor only covers half of the first floor, but it also covers the garage. So we're going to handle that. So I'm going to jump to this corner, tap enter. Let's say our second floor came 12 feet down, then it came 6 left, then it came down to where the angled wall starts, and then it went over to this corner. So I'm going to tap there. So that piece there in the middle is where the second floor ends. That's like a look open to below area where you can look down onto the first floor. So now that we have everything drawn, we're going to start defining our areas. Maybe we want to label where some rooms are and things like that. So we'll kind of do that next. So now that we need to define the areas, we're going to tap define on the left side, and that's going to bring up a list of all of our different area types. So for this case, we're going to define our first floor first. So our first floor is going to be this piece, but it's also this piece. So everything highlighted in blue, I want to be the first floor. So I'm going to come over here, select first floor in my list, and tap apply. And you'll notice now it shows first floor in square footage, and the line kind of footprint changed to blue. So that lets me know that area is defined. For the second floor, I'm going to tap right here, but I'm also going to tap inside the garage. So highlight everything that is your second floor. We'll call this one second floor, and then tap apply. Now that's defined as second floor. Garage is next. We'll select it, call it garage, apply it, and then we have a patio. We'll call this one a patio, apply, and now we have our patio drawn. So from here, I'm going to go to edit now. I'm going to tap inside my second floor, and I'm going to drag it off to the side, and then I'm going to center and fit. So you can see we got that whole second floor by just drawing the 4 lines that carved out where that open to below was. Otherwise, we used the footprint of the first floor in the garage to get the rest of it. So we didn't have to redraw that. A few changes, let's say we notice here on this second floor. I'm going to move the first floor or the second floor label in the square footage by tapping each of them. I have them both highlighted. I'm just going to drag them up together and then tap anywhere in the blank space to drop it. Now let's say I only wanted a 40-foot dimension there. I didn't want 2 20-foot labels. So I'm going to pinch and zoom, and I'm going to tap the point separating the 2 20-foot labels and delete it, and it'll give me a 40-foot label. Let's say I'll also realize that bay window should not have been on the second floor, so I'm going to do something similar. I'm just going to click the endpoint, delete it. And if you watch that square footage under second floor, it'll update as I delete. So it's updating square footages as I go. And I'll kind of delete these 2 as well to give me 1 12-foot label. So we edited a few of the dimensions to make them look better on the second floor. But let's say we also realized, you know what, that second floor only went halfway over the first. It didn't go all the way. So this 40 should have been 30 feet, and this should have been 10 feet. So I need to adjust that. So the way we can do that is I'll tap on the 24-foot wall here, and I'm going to tap 10 because I want to move it 10 feet, and I'm going to tap left. And so we can see the red line where it's going to move to. And when I tap enter, that square footage will update and then the line will move. And we just quickly adjusted that area on the fly without having to reopen it. So that's how we can add or edit areas if we need to, or delete points without having to reopen the area. Okay, so we have our first floor drawn, we have our second floor drawn, everything's calculated. Maybe we have an open to below area that we need to subtract out of the second floor. So I'm going to do that next. I'm going to draw the stairwell opening. So I'm going to tap on draw, and let's say it starts at this corner, and this is where I set where the opening starts. So maybe it comes 5 feet right and then 6 feet up. And then I'm going to tap enter, and that's where the opening starts. And maybe the opening goes 10 feet right. It goes maybe 4 feet up, and then it comes all the way back over here. And then we can tap A to close it. And now we have a 10 by 4 area. So the next step is we need to define this and subtract it. So I'm going to tap on define. I'm going to tap inside of that stair area. I'm going to come to my other option and select stairs, or I could select open to below, either one, but I'll use stairs for this one. And before I click apply, I'm going to do subtract from. and I'm going to tell it subtract from second floor. So we have second floor down there at the bottom now. So when I click apply, it should take 40 square feet out of that second floor and drop it to 1218. So we just subtracted the open area from the second floor. So now we have our stairwell drawn on that second floor. The next thing I'm going to want to do, let me go ahead and add some text labels to show where the bedrooms and bathrooms and things are. So I'm going to tap on the text icon here on the left, and I'll just throw a few labels in just so you can get the idea. So I'll tap on bedroom. It'll put it right in the middle, and then using my finger, I can kind of drag it where I want it and just tap the apply button at the bottom, or just tap your finger in the blank grid area and it'll drop the label. So I'll tap on bedroom again. We'll drop one down here in the bottom right corner, and maybe we have one more right here. So we'll label a few bedrooms, and then maybe we have a bathroom. I can tap on bath, drop it up here. You know, dining room, we could drop it in the first floor. We'll throw a kitchen in there just to get something in, and we can put a kitchen here. So again, labeling rooms, just select the label you want, drag it with your finger, tap apply, and it'll drop the label where you need it. If you want to show doors or any type of symbols, we can go right below symbols, and we'll go to a 90-degree stairs. If we want to add the stairwell in, we can come to a 45-degree door, or we'll go 90 because we'll just show the maybe the enter and exit points. So we'll put a door here, and then maybe we'll throw one on the back somewhere as if there's an exit here. All right, so again, we can add symbols, text to your sketch. So at this point, let's say we've collected everything, we can hop to the Calcs tab, confirm everything's drawn and calculated. If we want to see where anything is, we can select it. It'll highlight it in orange and kind of show you on the left side there, the area you have selected. It'll highlight it. So from this point, we're done collecting the data and sketches we need. We have all the rooms labeled. We have everything calculated. So we'll go ahead and hit the arrow at the top left or the top right, the green arrow, and we'll tell it to save our changes. So now where it said no preview before, we now have a thumbnail of what we drew. So we can see a thumbnail of the sketch before we leave the property. So we know everything's drawn, everything's calculated before we leave. We can even see what the calculations are for each area. We can even kind of highlight it over here if we tap it, if you want to look at where everything is in the sketch. So from this point, we're done. Now, let's say, you know what, I forgot something. You can always tap open in AVX. It'll reopen that same sketch in the sketcher, and you can, you know, make an edit or change anything you need. So once you save, an editable copy is saved in the portal. And so if you ever need to go back and edit that or make changes, it's going to be there ready to go. So I'm going to save those updates again that we made. And now we're ready to go back to the office and pull this into Appraise It Pro. A couple of things to point out about the iPad before I switch back to my desktop. This does work offline. So if you happen to go out in the field and you create a brand new record like I did with no internet, that's perfectly fine. It'll create the record. You'll do the exact same thing I showed you. The only thing different will be I have a green check there to the right of my record. I have 4 of them actually. So what that green check means is that that record is local on your device, which means you can make changes to it with no internet, but it also means that it's synced. So the green check means it's synced with the cloud. If you do create this offline, that green check will be yellow. If you see a yellow check, that means that the information or the data that you collected is on your iPad, and you need to go connect to Wi-Fi or connect to the internet to sync. Once you sync, that check will turn from yellow to green, and then you can go pull it into version 7 like I'm about to show you. So I just wanted to point that out before I stop showing my iPad what the green check versus yellow check versus cloud means. Cloud means you can only see it if you're connected to the internet. Green check, it's available offline. It's also synced with the cloud. Yellow check, it's available offline, but it's not synced with the cloud yet. You're going to want to sync that before you import it anywhere. So with all that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing here, and I'm going to hop over to my desktop view, and we'll import this into Appraise It Pro and see the whole round trip. All right, so I'll give it a second to catch up here, but you should see my screen, my desktop screen. Are you able to see that, Matt?
Yeah, we see it.
Okay, perfect. All right, so again, we created the sketch in the field. Now we're back in the desktop at Appraise It Pro. We want to get that sketch we created in the field and put it into this report we're in now. So not much has changed if you're already an Apex user. If you were going out in the field and drawing on paper, then you're going to come back to the office and you're going to redraw that on your desktop. And the way you do that, you go to the report in Appraise It Pro, go to the Tools tab, and then click on Apex. When you click on Apex, what that's going to do is it's going to launch Apex 7, and it's going to have a blank sketch. Since there's no sketch associated with this report at this time, Apex 7 will open blank, and then we'll use the Sketch Portal tab in Apex 7 to import what we drew. So here's Apex 7 launched. I have no sketch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to my Sketch Portal tab here at the top. Let me move this thing. So I'm going to go to Sketch Portal, and I'm going to click on Portal Import. And I'm going to get a window here that shows me all my options here. I have my filter set to parcel number. Let me change it to address. So here's the sketch we just created in the field. We can see a preview of it, so we can see what it looks like before we import it. We can see all the calculations of what we drew. So again, you can come here to confirm you have the right sketch, all that good stuff. Once it's all confirmed, we'll go ahead and hit Import. Now, the second screen that comes up, there's two options here. Import portal sketch. What that means is it's going to import this sketch as the address you have in the portal, and it's going to link the sketch that you save into this report to the sketch in the portal. That's important because if you make a change on your desktop, you want that change to sync back to the portal too, just in case you ever need to go back, all your changes are going to be in sync. The second option is import as template. Let's say you're doing a cookie cutter neighborhood and you have 6 different floor plans. Otherwise, they're all the same, you know. Well, this is floor plan B. Well, let me go grab a sketch I already did a floor plan B and just import it as a template and then give it the address of the new property. You can do that as well through Apex 7. So in this case, we're going to leave it as we have it with the address in the portal and import it. So now our sketch came in, all of our text labels came in, everything we did on the iPad is now into our desktop. Now, I usually tell users when you're out in the field, just collect the data real quick. You don't have to make it look pretty. Just get everything that's important to you while you're out there. And then when you get back to this point, this is where you can kind of clean it up, make it look good, you know, because it's a lot easier on the desktop to do certain things. So I'm just going to kind of delete a few labels here just to kind of make it look better. And maybe this had a curve to it and I just left it straight because it's a lot easier for me to do something like this on the desktop. So I'm going to pull a curve out there just to change something. So we drew our sketch on the iPad. We then went into Apex 7 and imported it. And made a few changes. So at this point, we're done. We want to save it into Appraise It Pro, transfer everything in and move on. So I'm going to go ahead and just close Apex 7 and click yes to save my changes. And what that's going to do now is in Appraise It Pro, we'll see it flash here, and it should transfer in the square footage of the living area into the report, and it'll also bring in a picture of the sketch. So if I scroll down, we can see a number right there that got pulled in from the sketch you drew. So it's pulling the square footage in, populating it where it goes in the report. And then if we go to the sketch tab in the report, there's a picture of the sketch we drew. There's all the calculations. So that automatically came in as it normally would today using Apex 7 and just hand drawing it and then redrawing it in Apex 7. So nothing changes other than you're importing stuff directly from the portal. You're not having to redraw it. And then any changes we make will also sync back to the portal. So real quick, just to show you that, I'm going to minimize and I'm going to open my portal on my desktop. As Matt mentioned, the portal will run on your desktop too. You may not necessarily need to use it here, but it is here just to look at if you need to. And the one thing I wanted to point out, so when I imported it in, I made a change in Apex 7. I curved this wall. Well, if you notice now, my thumbnail in my portal is updated to have that curve. So that curve that you did in version 7 and the changes we made in Apex 7 sync back to the portal, sync back to AVX, and now we can go back out and check this property again in say 2 or 3 or 5 years, we get another appraisal on it. We can just take this now sketch and go check it and make sure everything's correct there. So I think that kind of wraps up the, you know, how it works, what it does, what it is. And other than that, was there anything else you wanted me to go over or show, Matt, or did you have any questions on anything?
No, I think I that's amazing. Thank you so much for doing that. One of the, I do love that that this will basically run on any program, including your desktop. That can be super helpful. If you switch back and forth, let's say to your laptop, you can run it on your laptop, so you don't have to reinstall everything if you just need to make a quick edit. It's a great program. I love the way that it works on any device. If you guys are really interested in trying it out, you can contact our tech support office. Their telephone number, you can call them at 800-644-4051. You can also call them at the regular number that you may know, which is 800-523-0872. They both go to the same place, so you're more than happy to call either number. Or if you have any questions after the fact, because this will be archived, so you can go back and you can watch this on our YouTube page, which is youtube.com/SFREP. You can email me any questions you might have, training@sfrep.com. If I don't know the answer, I will most certainly get with Brian or somebody else, and we will find out what the answer is. Brian, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to show us Apex Portal and how it integrates with Apex Pro, and looking forward to seeing you in San Antonio next week.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to it as well.
All right. Have a great one. Everyone, have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care, and we will see you next time.